So Barry, I'm sure you're super excited for this partnership because I remembered even back as early as February, you saying, hey, and when I saw you at Drone Responders in person in March, there at Busch Gardens, you were like, drone in the box, it's the next thing, we're going to do it. And so here you are. So tell us about, the value that this partnership with Nokia is bringing to what you bring to the fight for all of these protectors and defenders out there.
Yeah, so Flying Lion was started with the concept of just being able to get public safety agencies using drones and utilizing them the best and safest way possible. And so with it, as I said, it morphed into a staffing agency to provide our picks up on our roof. But that's never been our goal, not our vision. We don't want to be in the staffing business, but it was a necessary step that we had to do to be able to be compliant with what the FAA required and what departments needed to get their programs moving. We see this drone in a box technology, and specifically the Nokia box, it's taking care of a lot of the things that the human on the roof has to do. Swapping out batteries, maintaining, the connectivity, keeping the batteries cooled and charged, and all of those elements are now put into this box, so industrialized. And now we have to just work on the next level, which will be the FAA side of it, of saying, okay, what other detect and avoid softwares, programs, or devices can we have out there that help eliminate the need for a human being to stand there to manage the airspace? Because that's really what will be the next phase, is the drone in a box will take away the need for the pilot up on the roof, but now there'll be a visual observer to manage that airspace until we can come up with these other devices that allow us to protect crewed aircraft as well as reduce ground risk with the technology that we have available to us. So we see this as the next phase of DFR. So as we saw at ITIS DFR 2.0 last year, that concept of drone in a box, but we're seeing this in the real world by the Nokia box being used and us training and testing their system to make sure it's going to be that tool that we need for that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And, y'all are coming together really, I think, at an important inflection point for the industry writ large globally, certainly in the United States. Just having attended that event last week with the FAA, Part 108 on the horizon. Obviously public safety has some special approvals right now, but Thomas, let's talk about some of the technologies and sensors besides obviously 4G, 5G that you baked into this drone and into the system from the start. Some of the sensor technologies that will help enable getting some of these advanced approvals for complex operations. And here we've got a picture of the drone. So walk us through what we're seeing here.
So we basically see a hexacopter that is 4G, 5G connected. We see the parachute itself, which is, and we started from a go-to-market perspective, where we started a couple of years ago is really Europe, working with the EASA and ensuring base compliance in our home market, while we are now transitioning towards the market in US. We have selected deployments already. The real focus is working together with the FAA and understanding through Barry's team, through the Flying Lion team, what are exactly how exactly is the future going to look like in terms of beyond visual line of sight operations in North America overall. The hexacopter itself with the parachute, with the requirements around remote ID, network remote ID, and payload come as a turnkey package together with the box. And we are, at the end of the day, really relying on the drones as a service operators to tailor the product towards a nice service for the end users, and to provide, at the end of the day, a kind of car sharing service or a ride sharing service towards the people which are in the need of drone operations. So it should not be anymore the case that everybody needs to buy a drone, but we rather position this as an infrastructure service on the market.
Okay, so how will this work then? The drone as a service, if you will, for example, with Barry and Flying Lion. Can you explain how that's going to work together? And I'll send it to Barry. This one, float this one to Barry.
So with that concept of doing what we can to support agencies to get it, if they have the ability to procure and get and purchase their own equipment, then it's the element of how are they going to go ahead and install it? What are they going to do to put it together? The servicing of that. So rather than having pilots, we may be asked by these agencies to provide a technician that makes sure their equipment is going to be running and compliant, on a 24/7 basis. Then the idea is if they don't want to purchase it outright, then they can go into the model of leasing. And so those are the different ways that we're just trying to make it as easy as possible for these agencies to, once they want to use this technology, what's the simplest path for them to be able to do this? And taking advantage of our past experience and best practices that we can bring to their environment helps them to engage this much quicker than they would be if they were going out to market and doing it completely themselves. That's our goal.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I guess it doesn't really go without saying, because we need to talk about it. If you have drone on a box solutions on a rooftop, you're obviously going to need a pretty robust command center. So let's talk about that, because Nokia also put together the Nokia Drone Control Center. Thomas, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the control center is nothing else than running a piece of ground control station software. That piece of ground control station software, or that piece of software that operates multiple drones over 4G or 5G, can be the Nokia fleet control software, so our own piece of software. But we also have basically an API as part of our offering, or a set of APIs as part of our offerings that enable integration with any type of drone software management system that is out there on the market. So we are giving at the end of the day, the choice to the customer. And that is where I also want to really mirror what Barry said. We listen to the customer, because that is what you have to do when you establish an as a service offering. We can operate with the Nokia software, or the customer or Flying Line can operate with the Nokia software, but we can also utilize third-party control systems that we are working with already, or that we're going to work with in the future, in order to integrate this drone in a box system into existing IT or OT operations. And that is again something where the Nokia strengths kick in. We don't want to provide Nokia drone networks as a on the top system, as just yet another solution on top of an existing IT environment. We want our solution to become an integral part of existing IT environments. So integrating the IT into existing VPN services, making our drones subject to exactly the same IT policies, or also IT security standards that our industrial or public safety customers apply. It's the Nokia drone network system needs to become a part of an existing environment, instead of just being, yet another piece of the puzzle that gets stitched on the side of an existing network. And that's why we are strong. Understanding networks, understanding IT policies, and bringing this connectivity and IT pillar together with the drones pillar in order to integrate both. I think that's important for public safety, but gonna be even more important for our industrial customers in the mining, in the oil and gas, but also in the utilities verticals.